Hey guys, Dan's from Dan's Model Bench with a quick product review. I'm just in the process of putting together the 132 scale F15 Eagle from Tamiya, and it's been a really interesting build. And I've been trying out a new paint while I'm doing it, and I've been so impressed with it that I wanted to just share with you my thoughts on it. This is Ammo MIG's Atom paint. This is their white, and I've been using this to paint some of the undercarriage and landing bay and things like that. And I've got to say, I've just been so impressed with how this sprays. It just does not spray like an acrylic paint at all. You can see in the video here I'm showing you now, I'm shooting the paint, and here's what it looks like when it's dry. Now, if you've ever shot white paint, you know this is probably one of the most challenging colours for any paint line because it has to get good coverage, and typically if it's easy to flood the model with too much paint or to have drips and things like that. This paint not only behaves like a lacquer paint, but I would argue it actually behaves better than some lacquer paints. Certainly as good as many of the better brands of lacquer paints I've used. So much so that I think I prefer this over using a white lacquer paint, to be perfectly honest. I mean, you can obviously get similar results, but this is just so easy to work with. That's the other thing about it. And I've really been impressed. So looking at this, for example, you can see the coverage here is quite nice. Now the key thing about this is that's a very confined space. I actually painted all this when it was glued together like this. So it wasn't separate parts that I glued together after I painted them. So it was all like this, and if you've ever painted a confined space like that, you know how easy it is to put too much paint in some part of it and have it running. You know how easy it is to get dry tip where they get like a pebble finish on some of the surfaces. This hasn't got any of that. It just works really, really well. And you can see it looks lovely. Similarly, here's some metal parts that I've painted. Now, obviously I did put some metal primer on these first, some Mr. Hobby metal primer, but you can see how well they've covered. And this wasn't a lot of paint either. This has to be, I would say, one of the most highly pigmented white paints I've ever used. So you need very little of this to get this kind of result. It's not like I was sitting here putting on multiple layers. There's probably 2 layers at most, and I did that at the same time. I didn't wait for it to dry and then have to go back and put another coat on or anything like that. So the point I'm making is this just worked fantastic, and for an acrylic paint, I'm beyond impressed. So if the rest of the paint range is like this, and I've got no reason to doubt it, because as I said, this will be one of the harder colours for them to do. I'm definitely going to be keeping this in my stash as a go-to paint for this sort of work. And you know, as I start running low on some other acrylic paints, I'll investigate some more of the Atom range. One thing to mention too, by the way, is the thinning, just in case you're going to try this out yourself. Now, I did buy their thinner, and I really do recommend that you get it. It does smell different. It doesn't smell like your standard sort of thinners, so I think it is a different formula. This one, as you can see, has also got a retarder in it. They have a version without, but this is the one I've got. And the other thing is the mixing ratios. I did watch a video of them, of Ammo MIG, using this paint. I think it's some model show or something. And MIG was spraying it directly out of the airbrush without any thinning. So that got me thinking this paint is very highly pigmented, and it's obviously able to work even when it's quite thick. So rather than going 50-50, which I know is what most people do, let's say I use 10 drops of this, I probably used about 3 drops of thinners. I certainly did not go to 50-50. So when you were mixing the paint up, and I was using a little medicine cup to mix the paint, it did look thicker than what you would normally expect to put through your airbrush. However, the way the actual paint behaved in the airbrush was excellent, even at fairly low air pressure. So I think I was running it around about 15 psi. Obviously, it's a hard thing to measure because every airbrush is a little bit different. Some need more air than others to operate, depending on the brand and how they've been engineered. But I would suggest that for most people, you could run this paint, even with a small amount of thinners, through a 0.3 needle airbrush at a reasonably low air pressure, whatever that is for your airbrush, and you will get excellent results. And the reason you will is because the coverage is just superb. So anyway, that was just my thoughts. Really impressed with this, and I thought it was worth just giving a shout out and letting you guys know about it. And yeah, if you've had some experience with using the Atom paints, and particularly in the other colours, give us some thoughts in the comments about them. How did you find them? I've got to say, I've been really impressed with this one, so I certainly think there'll be some more being ordered in the future. Anyway, that's it for this one. Thanks for watching. Catch you on the next video.